Okay, so I just refreshed the page again and the messages are gone. So that's looking great. The one thing I don't like though, let me just show you, let's just do it again. Let's create a message first. So when we do this delete process here with the modal, when we click delete, remember it's not going to refresh the whole page straight away because we've left that out of our JavaScript here. But when we click delete, it's not giving us a spinner or anything, and it doesn't really look like anything's happening. So even though for the user they could check the console or check that network request, I think we need to give a bit more feedback. So I'd like to see this become a spinner here when we click delete and before that page is reloaded. So let's do that. That part of the modal is the footer. I want to make that footer disappear and turn into a spinner. So first, so the first thing we can do is just select the footer, and you can do that with something like this. You can use that UE module again to select that one element, which is the modal footer, and then we can call on that element footer.setContent. So that's going to completely get rid of all the content that's in there, all that HTML, and just set it to something else. We can set it to deleting, for example. We can add the spinner as well. So there's this global called M, which has some utility functions. So if we have a look at that, you can see m.util full of utility functions in JavaScript. They're like modules, basically, loading in from this UE framework of JavaScript. So one of the functions there is add spinner. We need to pass in the whole UE framework and then add it to the node, which is the footer that we just found before. So we add a spinner there. Let's put that into a variable. Then we can do spinner.show straight away because we want the spinner to be showing. Straight away what we do is we find the footer, set the content to deleting, and then add a spinner next to that as well. And then that's going to be spinning all the while until we get here after we're done here. So let's go in here and do spinner hide. Because we're going to refresh the whole window here anyway, probably doesn't matter, but sure, we can hide the spinner there. So that might look a little bit better, just to have a spinner going. So let's do the thing again, run grunt and refresh the page. Okay, so we're going to have to create another message here, something we can delete. Okay, let's watch carefully here. So we're going to click delete. Are you sure you want to delete the message? Now, when I click this, we should see the spinner. And then the page should refresh because we've put all of that now into our JavaScript here. So let's watch. Deleting. But there was no spinner. I think we don't need it to hide again, so we'll just leave it on. And let's show the spinner as soon as possible as well. We don't need to really wait for that. As soon as we click the button, we want it to show. And I think that's looking pretty good. Let's do another grunt refresh round. Okay, we're going to have to add a few messages here. If we click delete, it deletes with the spinner. Refreshes the page straight away. So I think that's it. I think it's looking quite good, right? I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, look at that. We can delete a message, deleting with the spinner, refresh the page. So I hope you enjoyed that. We've learned about external functions. We know how to call them via Ajax here in the JavaScript. We had to implement that whole API to be able to get into our plugin. We had to implement the actual functionality deep in our plugin manager to delete the message. We had to set up the services so that when we upgrade Moodle, they will actually be imported into the Moodle external functions table. We had to bump the version number to get that upgrade to even happen. We created some new strings. We created the button itself with the class in the right spot. That has to be in the first position there, in position 0, so that when we actually pass through those classes here, it's going to be here in position 0 that class string name comes from. So we did a whole bunch of stuff there to make that modal happen. So there was a whole bunch of moving parts, so hopefully it wasn't too confusing, but you should have learned a lot if you could follow that all the way through. And there are, a few little things that you could trip up on, like, I don't know, getting the order of these wrong and stuff. So you can always just grab this code and compare yours to it to make sure if you do get some kind of errors, that you can at least have this code that should work. So you should be able to find the difference there and find the problem. Okay, thanks for watching.